Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome into the 143. We're coming at you live with episode 232. Nick, how we doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Got a NFC South episode inbound for you. Trying to keep the NFL at the forefront of everyone's minds. This is only a couple months away, so we need to be getting mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever prepared for this upcoming season.
Yeah, I'm ready to eat, sleep, breathe football again, college and pro. I mean, honestly, like, give me a Boise State UNLV Friday night matchup right now.
At 11 o'clock.
Give me the Saints versus the Panthers on Thursday Night Football. Like, I'll take that. Like, take anything we can right now. So that's why we're bringing you another football episode, because the world is missing football, especially after we keep watching soccer game after soccer game and you just see these scores. It's just really making you just really miss actual football, the real sport of football. And so we're going to dive into it. We'll start with the stat of the week, brought to you by our sponsor, Andrews Logistics. Wyndham Clark won his second U.S. Open, second major tournament win for him this past weekend. A lot of haters out there don't like Wyndham Clark. He's kind of growing on me. In the Canadian Open last week, he got a lot of points with me because on the first tee box, he put on a Jack Hughes jersey in front of the Canada fans. And that really spoke a lot to me about his patriotism. And so he got his second win this week. Congratulations to Wyndham Clark winning the U.S. Open in Shinnecock. And yeah, congrats to him. That's our stat of the week.
And then shout out to Wyndham Clark's parents for smoking crack and naming him Wyndham. So
that is true. That too. Shout out.
Player of the week, Kyle Pitts for Tuesday, June 23rd. Signed a 3-year, $54 million contract extension. And Kyle Pitts has had a very interesting narrative around him over the last couple of seasons, because the narrative is for fantasy football owners where you want to take Kyle Pitts, but you just can't because he's not going to perform. But I mean, I feel like he had if I'm remembering right, he had a pretty decent season.
They finally started throwing it to him. Was kind of the issue. He didn't get targets for some reason, and then they finally started hitting him last season, I feel like, and he did have a good season.
88 catches, 928 yards, and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, and he had a few, I think he had a 40-point fantasy game at one point. He had a few great weeks. So, much deserved. I mean, he's a good tight end. But
yeah, I mean, good for him. You know, he kind of plays like a wideout almost, where he's not a humongous, unathletic tight end. Like, he's a big guy. He can go out there. They'll line him up in the slot or something like that and have him running routes out there. So he's pretty versatile. So I think he's worth the money. I mean, he's a weapon on offense.
Yeah.
Atlanta needs to start doing something to build their franchise up, because I mean, we're on the NFC South just because it's been horrible for so long now. It is so easy to win that division.
Panthers won with an 8-9 record this past season, a losing record. So that's what we're talking about. Falcons also re-signed Drake London. A lot of people are expecting them to do Bijan Robinson's contract next. So, I mean, they're making the right moves in terms of re-signing their guys. We'll just start with the Falcons, since we've been talking about them. They've gotten good on defense and brought in Kevin Stefanski this offseason, which was a questionable coaching hire because he just didn't do much with the Browns. But I think they've shored up the defense a lot. The main question mark is quarterback. Is it going to be Michael Penix or is it going to be Tua Tagovailoa? Both are pretty mid options, in my opinion. And, that's going to be their biggest question mark. But they do have a lot of offensive weapons. So we will see with the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, obviously Tua's not an upgrade, if
Nope.
he's even anything of an improvement.
But they got him for a steal. They're like paying him like $1 million this year. So.
But I mean, I feel like there was one season a couple years ago where he was pretty good. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you'll get lucky and pull it out of him or something like that. But the quarterback situation has it's had a question mark on it for the last couple years. They've got Drake London, Kyle Pitts, obviously Bijan Robinson. So they've got offensive talent. They just need to be able to get quarterback play to bring it all together.
I like this whole division's a question mark. So each team, nobody feels that confident about at this point. But the Tampa Bay Bucks obviously are the main contenders. I feel like every year, the team everyone expects to win it every year. Recently, they got Baker at the helm. Obviously, we've talked about how he still hasn't been extended. They're still talking about it. So who knows what's happening with that? But the Bucks have been the team that's kind of been relevant, more relevant than the others recently. The Bucks they lost Mike Evans. They have a young receiving core at this point. Like, I don't know what to think about the Bucks either. Kind of the same with the Falcons. But I mean, I do like Baker, obviously.
You feel like they should have been a lot better last year than they were, just because you look at the roster on paper, talent-wise. Obviously, they did struggle with injuries, but I mean, top to bottom, they looked like a somewhat complete team. But I guess we talked about it a couple weeks ago with quarterback play. Baker, obviously, I think he's solidified his place in Tampa Bay. They've been looking for that franchise quarterback for a little bit, and I think they've got it in Baker. He's a solid option. A lot of their weapons on offense are young. You've got,
they got Ruben Bain in the draft.
Yeah, with your Bucky Irving and your Egbuka, those are guys that are young and looking to prove themselves. We already know what Bucky Irving's capable of. Egbuka looked good here and there. A couple games during the last season, but you just don't know because the NFC South. I mean, the Bucs started off hot last year. And
they did
fell off after week 5 or 6. It fell
off. They did get plagued with injuries. We'll see what happens this year if they can avoid that. The team that started off awful and got hot towards the end of the season was the New Orleans Saints. A lot of people are kind of high on them going into this season, partly because their division is trash, so anybody can win it. But, Tyler Shuck, he kind of slung the ball a little bit towards the end of the season last year. A lot of people thought he was just kind of a lot of people thought he's just going to be like a placement quarterback until the Saints can draft possibly Arch Manning in this next draft, as they're, a lot of people kind of want him to tank for a high QB pick. Arch going to the same place maybe his granddad went to back in the day. But Tyler Shuck's kind of taking some people by surprise. He put up some decent numbers towards the end of the season. The Saints are just lately have been awful. Chris Olave, is he another Michael Thomas situation where he has a lot of talent and he's a great receiver, but he's always hurt? I mean, I feel like this dude's had 10 concussions at this point, and I know he's on some kind of, he just got off bone thinning medication is what I just saw recently. Yeah. So he's always dealing with something. They've made a couple moves. I don't know what to think about the Saints, but at the same time, I don't know what to think about the division. So it could be theirs.
I mean, they're in a good situation just because the reason I say that is like what you were talking about earlier, where they're not a great team. They're not even a good team, but they're in a horrible division. So, it's kind of up in the air. Yeah. Tyler Shuck, he looked pretty nasty at the end of the season last year. Nobody was really high on him coming into the season last year, with him getting drafted. Obviously, the big thing last year was all the quarterbacks that got taken over Shador. But from what I saw last year, I think he proved why he should have gone higher than Shador. that might be a hot take, but from what I saw,
I mean, Chidole's
I
not
think
good.
I saw enough to be like, yeah, that guy is definitely better. Because I mean, he was leading a mediocre team to winning games. Like they were becoming competitive towards the end of the season. Now they had dug themselves in a pretty big hole at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, they weren't coming out of that.
No reason where they would come even close to playoff contention, but it did spark hopes for what we could see in the future.
And they got Travis Etienne over the offseason, another offensive weapon out of the backfield, which will be good for him. Dump off, great dump off running back. And
That Chris Olave thing stinks just because he's so talented.
he's so good.
It looks like it could be another Michael Thomas situation where all the talent in the world just can't stay on the field.
Yep. So keep an eye on the Saints. Kind of a lot of people's up and coming team this year, that might sneak up on everyone. Obviously, the division winners from last year, the Carolina Panthers, we really can't, laugh at them anymore. They're not just a team to watch for a random upset like the Arizona Cardinals are now. Instead, they are, they're kind of becoming more legit. They're a more complete team. Bryce Young is finally showing that he is a starter in this league. They've added
short, but he's been out there slinging it.
They've added some defensive guys, some offensive guys. I think they got better this offseason. They might have overpaid for Jalen Phillips, and by might have, I mean they definitely did. But, I think the Panthers will be right back to where they were last season, where they're very much in contention for this division. I think it's all just going to come down to Bryce Young and the defense. Can Bryce Young play at the level that he did last year, and is the defense going to perform? I mean, they really took the Rams pretty, they had it for a little bit in that playoff game. They could have beaten the Rams and moved on. Fell short in the end, but yeah, I think the Panthers are very much in talks to go to the playoffs again next year.
I mean, for an 8-9 team, they obviously you look at that and you're like, oh man, they weren't that great, but they were a competitive team. And point in case was the playoff game that they lost. Obviously, at the end of the day, don't really care because they lost. But I mean, that was a powerhouse Rams team. And it came down to the very end. So you got to credit them for that. They had, you got Ted McMillan, who looks like he's going to be a stud. Last year they had a little bit of a running back tandem with Rico Dowdell, ex-Dallas Cowboy, and then Chuba Hubbard. But the main question mark is, are you going to have Bryce Young continue to perform at the level? I mean, I say continue to play at the level. He's been getting better. I think he's going to have to get better in this upcoming season. Obviously, you had the luxury of playing the Saints twice and the Falcons twice and the Bucs twice. So, because you're in the NFC South.
That's for any of them.
I mean, I think he definitely has to get a little bit better.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone in this division has to get better, period.
Yep.
But, I think it's kind of the Panthers to lose at this point, maybe.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, at the end of the day, it's this division is still most likely going to be the toilet bowl of the NFL, as it's been the last couple of seasons. But it was the NFC East at one point. It's been the AFC South. Right now it's the NFC South. And so we'll see who comes out on top at the end of the season.
Anyways, here's like the end our show under review. Brought to you a quote. This was brought to us off Twitter a couple of days ago. It's in regards to the World Cup, which is going on right now. And it was from a gentleman who is verified with 1.2 million followers.
Okay.
You may know him. I don't. I'm just kidding. There's no way anyone knows this person. Benjamin Cohen. And he said every team that loses to the USA must call it soccer for the next 4 years.
I mean, I think that's how it goes. Y'all want to make fun of us all the time. But when you get beaten by us, right now it'd be Paraguay and Australia, you must now call your sport soccer. until the next 4 years when you can have a shot to beat us again. So I firmly agree with that statement. And if we win the whole thing for whatever reason, everybody's got to call it soccer for the next 4 years. So not that that's happening, but I like that. Great quote. Here's what I like to end our show on Under Review. We want to say goodbye. And thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.